All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Serderman. Carlene is here. We have a special guest, a guest who has an inspiring story. I got a chance to read the story. Using and turning what she's dealing with and what she's living with, not only into inspiration, but into work. She is building community. And also building awareness at the same time when we talk about multiple sclerosis, MS. She's doing a lot of great work. I want to get into her story. The gala that's coming up on Saturday. We got a chance to talk before we got her in and situated. Carol Hunley is here with the National MS Society. Carol, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
Again, an inspiring story. Let's start back from the beginning. So I read it. You were diagnosed with MS, or not diagnosed. You started feeling symptoms in 2001.
Right.
And so what took 14 years for a diagnosis?
It took 14 years for a full diagnosis. I was told in 2001 I may have MS. At that point in time in my life, I had young children. I was climbing the corporate ladder, and I had a second opinion that said I didn't have MS. So I chose to believe the second opinion and didn't carry it much further. But I ended up in the emergency room with my entire right side numb.
Oh, wow.
And that numbness lasted for a long time in my right leg, which is now my problem area. My right leg is very weak. But it wasn't until we moved to Boston. I had my first symptoms in Pittsburgh when we lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we moved to Boston. And I had kind of followed MS from that period of time back in 2001, and it was the National MS Society website that I would always go to see, I wonder if I should revisit this, right? And it was when we lived in Boston that I kind of went to the website, looked at the symptoms that were most common. I had those symptoms, and I pursued it and got the diagnosis 14 years later.
What was that like when you finally got the diagnosis? Was it confirming? Was it scary? Was it everything wrapped in one?
It was definitely scary.
Okay.
But it was affirming. I mean, I knew something was wrong, right? My family kind of chided me many times during those years, saying, "Mom, you're so uncoordinated." You know, I would trip on things, and I was never taken for an athlete like your own Danielle, but I could tell that my mobility and coordination was declining, and that was one of the things that caused me to seek a diagnosis.
What I got to ask, what got you through that period before being officially diagnosed? Like what did you lean on your family a lot? I mean, what?
Certainly, I have leaned on my family throughout. And my family has been I have 3 children. 2 of them are here in Charlotte. They're grown, they're married, and they have followed us to Charlotte, which I'm thrilled about. So I do have a very strong support system in my family. So I really, I think I've kept a pretty positive attitude throughout which is so important throughout my journey, and it is largely due to my family support system.
You moved here to the Queen City. You've been here about 10 years at this point. Has it felt like 10 years?
It has flown by. It has really flown by. But we love it here. Love the climate. The snow in Boston was a little problematic for somebody with balance issues, right? But just love the climate, love the pace, love the people. Very friendly. We just, this feels like home to us.
You really, reading your story, you really built community here, and you've become an advocate, spreading awareness. But what makes Charlotte special, and why was it important for you to do that?
So when I first moved here, and you hear this a lot with people who are diagnosed, where their first thought is, oh, I don't know anybody with MS, right? I don't have any friends with MS. So I wanted to be that person with MS that people knew, so that it isn't so frightening when you get that diagnosis and you feel so alone. Not that any two cases of MS are alike. It's one of those snowflake chronic illnesses where everybody's journey is a little bit different. But I love to be in connection with others who are newly diagnosed, just to say it's not a death sentence.
Yeah.
You can do this, you can get through this, and you have support and you have resources available to you.
That initial conversation with folks, especially folks who are newly diagnosed, what is that like? What is that conversation like?
It differs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes people are very scared, and I understand that. And other times, there's also, depending on where you are in your life, there are people who are afraid to even divulge that they have a chronic illness. They're afraid that might affect their work, that might affect how people see them. I have always been somebody who has shared it freely and openly, and I have found that through the years, through my, I'm retired now, but when I worked, the fact that I shared it so openly meant that people could come to me in confidence or openly and ask about, I've had people ask about their spouse, their parents, their kids. I serve on the local board of the MS Society, and one of my fellow board members, her daughter was diagnosed when she was 12. Can you imagine being the mother of a preteen, right? I mean, I can't imagine being the mother of a preteen again, period.
Right.
But to deal with everything else, to deal with a chronic illness at the same time. So that would be a very different conversation than somebody, in their midlife that is diagnosed.
Is there a heaviness when you hear these stories? How do you take that? Because this is heavy. I mean, granted, like you said, this is not a death sentence, but I'm sure for them, it's got to be like, okay, I've said it, and I have somebody to talk to.
But the conversations lately are very hopeful.
Okay.
Because and largely due to the research and funding that comes from the MS Society, we have so many different treatments today for MS.
Yeah.
We're closer than ever to a cure, but we are there for a lot of treatments for the different types of MS and the symptoms. So, I have said to people there's no better time to be diagnosed with MS than right now, because we have so many disease-modifying therapies available to us, even like a dozen more than when I was diagnosed, 10 years ago. So I think there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of great research. I just hope it all continues, because that's a very difficult area right now, right? Medical research. But the MS Society has not pulled back from their commitment to medical research, which I'm very happy about.
And again, you're on the board of trustees with MS Society here in the Carolinas, both the Carolinas.
Right, the local chapter.
Can you talk about the work? You guys do a lot of work. You do a lot of work. And I promise I'm going to get to the gala this Saturday.
No, that's fine.
But the work doesn't just stop on the start or stop with the gala, but you guys do work all year round.
We do. So the board does a lot of advocating, and we are effectively ambassadors for the National MS Society. And, with the thing that I am most passionate about is just connecting people with MS or that are affected by MS, right, to the society, so that they're aware of the resources the society has. We have a navigator program that, you can set up an appointment with a navigator for any questions, challenges that you may have, whether you live with MS or whether you are a caregiver for somebody with MS. That's a very stressful situation too, right? And a lot of the people in the Carolinas that are affected by MS don't live near, medical. We're very fortunate in Charlotte to have a robust medical, or in Raleigh, some of the larger cities, to have, specialists that deal with MS in neurology or what have you. When you get to some of the, rural parts
Yeah.
of the Carolinas, not so much. So the society's done, they've partnered with Genentech to determine where there are medical deserts and how can we try to bring more access to people that are affected by MS to specialists and medical care. And I'm really excited about that work.
Yeah, when I tell some of my friends who are not familiar with the Carolinas or just have a vague knowledge of Raleigh, of Charlotte, maybe the Triad area, I tell them, I'm like, there are a lot of rural areas here that, people just don't have, they're food deserts, they're hospital deserts, they're different sort of deserts there for folks. So, yeah, to your point,
Right.
yeah. Folks just, it's not easy for everyone to just drive 5 minutes
Right.
away, 10 minutes away
Right.
to a medical facility.
Right. And some of the treatments that I referenced, involve infusions.
Yeah.
So I myself am on a treatment that involves an infusion twice a year. If you live 4 hours away from a medical,
yeah.
facility or an infusion center, that's a problem. So, I'm excited about the work we're doing to try to alleviate that.
Speaking of work you're doing, you're planning to have a good time on Saturday. A good time for a good cause, the Great Gatsby Gala. Where did the idea come from? And is this, what year is this gala? Is it 37th year?
I think it's 37.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of my other fellow board members, Mike Daisley, was on the, who we honored for the 35th, so that was 2 years ago. He was on the inaugural committee for 37 years ago that came up with the idea of the Great Gatsby. And I have attended, I think, all of them since moving to Charlotte.
Wow.
And a lot of our fundraisers, we have great fundraisers, but a lot of them are around activities I cannot physically, participate in, like a walk. I do the 1 mile walk, but it's tough. And we have a couple of bike events that are very popular, but I should not get on a bike, but I can party. So the Gatsby Gala has been something that has been my signature fundraiser. I try to get friends, family. My son is flying in from LA to come to the gala. So it's just a really fun event. We have people that show up in black tie. We have people that show up as Babe Ruth. We have people, I mean, it's just, we have people that come in full flapper regalia, It's just a really fun time for a great cause. And this year is special.
Yeah.
Because we have your own Danielle Stein as our MC, and we're really looking forward to that. I had the pleasure of meeting Danielle at one of our bike, because she's done the MS bike. Danielle, I think, is an athlete, if I have that right. So.
Yes, she is.
So she had participated in one of the bike for the MS Society. So we connected at a bike event, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great evening. It'll be a lot of fun.
Danielle, probably one of the, let me not say probably, one of the busiest people in the newsroom.
In our building, for sure.
Oh, my
yes.
goodness. I could never, I see
She's
flashes
always-
of Danielle.
Yeah.
Say hi, and a lot of times it's hi and bye.
Right.
Then I feel doubly honored that we're going to see her Saturday night.
She's very excited.
Aw.
I know the dancing, the party is obviously fun, but when you look back on the night, when you reflect back on it, what's your favorite part outside of that? Is it seeing the people come out?
It's seeing the people. It's connecting with new people that are connected in some way to MS. We, for the past several years, have had an honoree. Like I said, Mike Daisley was our honoree two years ago, and he's lived with MS for decades. And it's just an awesome inspiration to me. He was one of the first people I met here with MS, and he's been an inspiration to me. This year, we're honoring Jeff Kolbenschlag, who is the father of one of my other fellow board members, and he's lived with MS for a number of years too. And I just love hearing their stories and seeing their support systems around our honorees. It's just a really, and just hearing some of the testimonies,
Yeah.
it's just a real emotional evening. And this year we're honored to have Tim Coetzee, our chairman of the National MS Society, is going to be with us, along with several of the executives. They're in town for executive meetings this week, so they are staying to party with us. So
Oh,
that's
man.
exciting.
It's exciting. Do you feel the pressure?
Yeah.
I didn't want to put you on blast, but I'm like,
Yeah.
this is such a big event. You have folks from
Yeah.
everywhere coming. But do you ever take I guess during the event, do you ever take a sigh of relief or a breath or like, whew, okay, we got through this year, or is it always like something's going on?
I don't.
Okay.
I really enjoy the evening, but I think if you asked some of the staff members, they would have a different answer. Yeah, because it's kind of like the end of our fundraising season, and it's a huge event. A lot of work goes into it, a lot of prep work. We have a committee chaired by one of my fellow board members, Owen Zingraf and Charles Melvin, and they do a great job. I think this year is going to be a record breaker. I know it's going to be a record breaker because we have a lot of people coming and a lot of support. So it's just exciting to see that community come together.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
This year will be a record breaker. Look, I got to say the location in case folks are interested. Tickets are still available, right?
Tickets are available.
Okay, that's
There's a
key.
website, gatsbygala.org. Tickets are available, but the window is closing soon.
Get your tickets now.
Yeah, get your tickets now. And it's Saturday evening at 6 o'clock at the Hilton.
Hilton Uptown. 222 East 3rd Street, Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me say that again. 222 East 3rd Street, Charlotte, North Carolina. 6 to 10. It's going to be a great time.
It will be a really fun time.
Oh, Danielle's going to have a great time out there, too. I have to point this out. So there's a connection here. Carlene, Gamecock, your son, a Gamecock.
It's true.
Carlene's wearing orange today.
I'm wearing
Color
orange
MS.
today. I'm not
Very
a Clemson
impressive.
orange, but I like orange. But yes, I did not realize it was the color for MS.
It is.
That's great.
I was very impressed.
Oh, thank you.
You did not
Of
have
course,
to
I did it on
confess.
purpose.
Yeah.
I did it on purpose.
I just had to point it out. I just had to
Yeah.
point it out. And I just have to mention Carlene said the Gamecocks will make the playoffs, football playoffs this year.
Yes.
Maybe I jinxed the team. I don't know.
So I know at least two people who would agree with me. So, my son and my fellow board member, John. Yeah.
That's great.
All right, Carol Hunley, National MS Society. Carol, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate both
Thank
of your
you.
Such a great